So how'd the humans ever evolve? Has evolution ever occurred? We've, um, we've given humans these faulty computers called smartphones. We've given them these deceptive search engines like Google and stuff like that. And we've given them trash to throw on the ground, heroin, needles, and all that stuff. And supposedly humans are affected by drugs, so it's like the heroin would be a problem, but let's avoid the things that I don't see as a problem. So the trash is supposedly a problem, but they're also saying that trash isn't a problem and trash doesn't exist. So you don't need to worry about that, like the world's fake. So there is no trash. You can just throw trash on the ground everywhere, and that also, I mean, that sounds legit because it's in line with the humans being a servant race, a slave race, and you got to keep them busy. You got to make sure they work, because if they didn't work, they would have to make up a different storyline for what they do. You know, like they couldn't create like a generic. There's 14 billion humans, and there's 7 backstories. So, that would take away like pretty much 90% of their lives if you. There's about 2 of the 7 who don't. 2 of the 7 personalities who don't work. And you know, like at McDonald's and stuff. You take that away, you take away some of that. But anyways, you know, let's act like it's real for a minute. And you take that away, and then they could figure it out. Like they could figure out Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer isn't real. You know, because that's going to happen. Our Lord and Savior Jeffrey Epstein came to me and said, in the year 29 trillion, the humans will figure out that doesn't exist. Rudolph doesn't exist. You know, and I'm trying to be positive. So yes, that's going to happen in the year 27 trillion after Rudolph AR. In the year 27 trillion AR after Rudolph, they're going to figure it out. And they're going to advance. They're going to take the first step. But does evolution actually exist, or is it just this illusion that has existed? Because I can tell you, no one I've ever met has evolved beyond what they were when I first met them. You know, pretty much people sitting in my life, they just sit around and use drugs all day. Maybe that's what they all do. Or maybe it's like a target thing where they send people in my life, or that's all they do because they think drugs are going to destroy me and kill me. And who knows? I mean, drugs are fun, right? Like when I was a child, when I was 2 days old, or 2 years, or 8 years old, whatever it was, when they first started me on drugs and stuff. And the schools and the people I was forced around as a child. Started forcing amphetamines into me when I was a child. Yeah, it's literally they're forcing you on drugs. But they're blaming me, you know, this is my fault. Apparently when I was 2 days old, I'm the god of the world. And I started controlling the world. So I was like, hey, I need some drugs. And they're like, oh, hey, look, the 2-day-old just said, he's like, goo goo gaga, I need some drugs. And it's my fault. I'm inventing the world. So I'm using all them drugs now because I thought I should. And that's a good excuse. Let's come out on TV and say, hey, this 2-day-old is the god of the world. He said he should use drugs when he's 2 days old. So let's start feeding him amphetamines when he's 2 days old. Sounds like a good plan, right? Let's come out on TV and talk about it. You know, when they came out and started talking to me about this stuff, his face is all swollen, but it's like if they're shapeshifters. They can pretty much do anything. I placed signs on people And that started happening. Like people have their face busted open when they come deceive me and mislead me and stuff. Then again, if he's got the markings, the person deceiving me, misleading me, he's probably lying. And he's like, oh, if you control the world, why would you want anyone to know that? My answer is pretty easy. But anyways, like, hey, if I control the world, then I can just be like, hey, you can finally put me on media for once, like instead of covering me up all the time and all this stuff, right? You can put me on the media. And I was like, who are you saying is the God of the world? Like, you guys are me. And he didn't have an answer for that. But I realized, like, later, his face is all swollen. What is that? Some game they're playing with me or something? Trying to convince me it's me or something. Yeah, trust me, if it was me, this whole world wouldn't exist right now. You definitely wouldn't be like these pedophiles who, like, were sacrificing parts of my body when I was like a 2-day-old and stuff. Playing around with me when I'm like 2 days old. Like I wouldn't have, I don't think I would have allowed that to happen. I don't even like men, so, or males, or whatever they are, clones, NPC. So I wouldn't have like agreed that like people should have been touching my body parts when I was like 2 days old and stuff like that. I wouldn't have agreed with that. But hey, who knows? Like according to them, like I asked for it. It's my fault. But also according to them, if I would have said I don't want it to happen, that's why it happens as well. So yeah. Really, I don't have many questions. Who's going to answer a question for me? I think my questions are a little more complex. People used to ask me for answers on tests in school. And my questions are far off from that stuff. I don't need answers to those. So I definitely, don't know who I should be asking. But are we like, are we asking for this? What's happening? I'm like, I come into the world, or before I come into the world, let's say I'm like 2 hours old, and I'm like, hey, I need some drugs, man. And they're like, oh, okay, let's give the child some drugs. And everyone around me like, yeah, taking drugs is so good. You wanted them, it's your fault, and all this stuff. It's like, really? Let's touch his penis. Let's mutilate him. He loves that. He knows how much we love touching baby penis too. So he's being a good person. He's giving us our favorite toys to play with and stuff. You can only be a toddler. You can only be a newborn for a couple days. It's the most valuable gift in the world to be able to touch a newborn's penis and play around with him and mutilate him and all that stuff and chop him up, and you're never going to be 2 days old again, bro. Like, he's like Jesus. He's given us the best gift in the world. He's so good. Yeah, I asked for it too, obviously, because I probably did, right? As a child, I was definitely beyond what adults will ever be. That's what they were telling me too, and I didn't like. They weren't telling me it enough, and I didn't like. I was too busy being beaten and kicked around by the people who are 5 feet tall, and I'm only like, 8 inches tall. So it was hard. I could only stab so many people when I was that big. They had whole forces of people with guns and stuff and cells if I didn't want them to touch my penis or mutilate me or drug me or anything like that. But it was apparently me, so they were doing it all they were doing it all because I wanted it done, apparently. That's what they're telling me, right? So is that the entire purpose of life? We're just supposed to sit here and do drugs all the time and be a slave? Like, you can be a slave, but you guys can. I'm not allowed to be like a normal slave, am I? Like, they blocked that for a while. Drugs and slavery is a great world.